I love anime. Over the years, I've gotten into everything from Death Note and Attack on Titan to slightly more obscure series like Eden of the East and No Game, No Life. So, although I've never read even a page of the Spice and Wolf light novels or manga, or have ever even seen a single episode of the anime, I was excited to see that the series was getting a VR experience. Because even though I have no connection to these characters or the world like fans obviously would, I was hoping that Spice and Wolf 1 and 2 VR would change that, and convince me to give the series a shot.
それはお前が客の宴会に参加して暖炉の前で眠りこけてたりするからだ。お、廃屋に見えたから心配したが、中は割と綺麗だ。ここで雨宿りしよう。
Starting up the first Spice and Wolf VR game is actually a pleasant experience. The resolution is crisp and clear and the character animations are fluid and realistic. The immediate downside is that there's no English dub, so while you want to look around and take in the environment, you're stuck reading subtitles for the entire story, which actually only clocks in at around 20 minutes or so. And honestly, there's not a lot to see here anyway. See, you play as Lawrence, a 25-year-old traveling salesman, and you'll sit in the exact same spot, in the exact same room for the whole game. There's no new locations, no locomotion, or even item interactions during that time. Oh, well, I guess there are hidden coins scattered around that appear at the start of each scene. That said, you won't even need to pick up a controller. All 20 minutes is consumed by listening to dialogue between you and your traveling companion, Holo the Wise Wolf. A little Wikipedia search helped me out on this one. As it turns out, Holo is a 600-year-old wolf deity who takes the form of a 15-year-old girl, with the noticeable inclusion of having a wolf tail and wolf ears. We could get into why this is so creepy, but for the most part, this story is fairly innocent. Strangely though, nothing really happens in this game. You sit and listen to these two argue about finances. He's the man and supports them while she spends too much money, and within a few minutes, I'd already lost interest. But I stuck it out, and when it was over, I could jump into the newly unlocked interactive mode, where my DualShock turned into a hand, and I could pet Holo. You can also look around the room and highlight different items for Holo to talk about. And if you're worried you've missed something, there's a checklist next to you letting you know what tasks you've completed and what's left to be discovered, with the whole interactive mode luckily only taking about 5 minutes to complete.
食べたらおしまいだ。しばらく甘いものなしの旅が続いても後悔しないようにな。いや、別にそれは。というか、これ以上費用がかかると赤字にな。
So yeah, Spice and Wolf VR felt like $25 down the drain. So why not blow another $25 on the sequel that just launched today and see what improvements were made over the original? Well, I'm sad to report that somehow, the sequel looks worse than the original. The single environment looks nice and the character animations are, again, great, but the whole game runs at a slightly lower resolution, making the overall look less appealing. And the story in this one, if you can believe it, is even more boring and more dragged out than Spice and Wolf 1. Spice and Wolf VR 2 takes place quite a few years later and includes a third character this time around, your daughter Muri. The three of you talk endlessly about fur trading and finances, and when the story was over 34 minutes later, I was honestly relieved to move on. And the interactive element of the sequel isn't much different than the first. Lawrence, Holo, and Muri sit down to watch some slides on a home movie projector, and you can again interact with them using your DualShock 4. You can pet them both and feed them both, and the whole thing is pretty weird. This lasts about 12 minutes or so, and overall, was pretty forgettable.
居場所を尋ねると村人がこう言った。今年はクロエがホロになるでしょうね。
ホロだって母様の名前だよ。
ああ、わかったわかった。取り消すよ。
そうじゃろ?
Spice and Wolf VR 1 and 2 are obviously designed strictly for fans of the series, but if I'm being brutally honest here, I feel totally ripped off. The two games combined cost $50 for what amounts to about an hour of content, and that content is barely passable, even as a VR experience. If someone did this to Death Note, I'd be upset that I'm watching my favorite characters sit around and talk about nonsense when I should be out exploring their worlds, picking up items, choosing dialogue paths, something that resembles gameplay, rather than sitting in one spot and reading subtitles that do absolutely nothing to rope in new gamers or give longtime fans an interesting side story to be immersed in. Anime fans deserve so much better than this, especially for what they're charging.
ホロ。
なんじゃ?
お前との旅が楽しいのは本当だよ。
たわけ? わっちもじゃ。
ん